Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Bunny Operator here. Today we're going to go over the Groove Life belt, and I want to first and foremost thank my buddy Micah for giving me the belt and really allowing me to test it out in comparison to some of my other systems that I currently use. One of the biggest takeaways from the Groove Life belt is that the buckle itself is magnetic. So unlike a traditional belt where you loop through or a Cobra buckle system where you clip on and off with the male and female side of the Cobra buckle, the Groove Life uses a magnet. So you see it's a very flush and low profile system. To unlock, you push in and release the magnets. To clip back on, you just simply connect it and it reattaches by itself via magnets. Another strong feature is that the belt itself is stretchy and there's a little bit of give here to allow for expansion, and also allows for the belt to move with you and your body as you're moving around throughout the day. Now there's a trade-off that comes with this, and what that means is generally support, especially if you're carrying a heavier firearm. Now Micah does state that he carries his 6-hour P226 on him and doesn't have any problems. For me personally, I have noticed a little bit of wiggle and a little bit of stretch and slightly less support than, let's say, the Blue Alpha Gear EDC hybrids that I normally use. I don't want this to be a comparison, but understand where I'm coming from so that it kind of gives you a gauge of where my knowledge base currently sits. I have been testing this belt for a few weeks now and primarily carrying my Smith & Wesson MP Shield 2.0 using an LS Concealemnt Ronin L holster. This is an appendix waistband with a caddy system. I do use the teardrop and the wing to help with concealment. As you can see, the shield has a Streamlight TLR6 on it, so it has a little bit more weight than what people normally traditionally carry, but I do like it, and so far the belt has found to be fairly supportive and pretty good for carrying around a lighter weight gun such as this. Now, I also carry primarily my Glock 19 Gen 4 in an LAS Concealemnt Ronin L holster as well, with a spare mag and the mag caddy system. And we'll pull out the Gen 4 here for you to see. It does have a TLR7, a Trijicon RMR, and of course standard magazine. I have found that the additional weight on the Glock 19 or the heavier guns themselves, this belt is still supportive, but not as supportive as the Blue Alpha Gear belts that I normally carry with me. So you'll notice that the Blue Alpha Gear is actually a little bit stiffer, and there's not give in it as I'm tugging here, just like on the Groove belt, where there's a little bit of slack. You can see it stretch a little. So there's a pro and con to that. This means that the Blue Alpha Gear is quite not as comfortable in the sense where it does not stretch or move with your body and doesn't allow for expansion. Let's say you eat a big meal or whatever is going on in your life. But it does retain the QD Cobra buckle system, which I do prefer, where the female end is smaller and you can loop through. While the magnetic system is also QD, and also stretches to allow for a little bit more room and play as you move it around. Now, for both these belts, I do wear the belt offset, meaning it's towards my right side, primarily because I'm carrying appendix inside the waistband with the holster in the center. So what that means is, let's say orientation, I'm facing that way, my belt would be this way, off to the side, to prevent excess bulk in the front as my holster is in the center here. So if I had my buckle here, then it would add a little bit more bulk than I'd like in the center here. And that's not my preference, so I tend to offset. So if you ever got to take it off, then just pop the holster off, undo the belt, and then slide it through. Now both these are small enough and they do fit traditional belt loops, so I do like that feature quite a bit. While the Blue Alpha Gear Cobra buckle system, only the female side will loop through. The male side is too large and does not loop through your belts. The Blue Alpha Gear system is once you set your size, you leave it, and that's it. It pretty much allows you to size up and down about one size each, and then infinitely in between to allow you to get that perfect fitment depending on your gun, your body type, or whatever expansion that you get for the day. You can still adjust this on the fly, but I think the benefit of having the stretch of the Groove Life belt does certainly help. At the end of the day, it works. And frankly, when you're wearing your holster and the belt and it's tucked up against your body, the support of everything combined is usually pretty good. So you're not going to notice too much of the support differences between these two systems. Just note that you will probably feel that the Groove Life belt does tend to allow the holster to tilt a little bit more, even if you cinch it down, just because the stretch. That's the very nature of the stealth system. While the Blue Alpha Gear belt is stiffer, so it's the contrast to it. It does allow a little bit more security with the gun being tighter to your body, but it is less comfortable because there's less stretch. So it's a trade-off. You have to figure out what works best for you and your situation. I like them both. I do like them both, and I do wear the Groove belt depending on the situation and depending on what I'm wearing, depending on the gun I'm carrying. At the end of the day, they both work, and the Groove Life belt is an excellent alternative to what is currently out there. My primary belt system that I carry is still going to be the Blue Alpha Gear belt because of the things that I mentioned and my preferences towards having a stiffer belt. But that being said, there's nothing wrong with the Groove Life belt. I do like it. And I will continue to use it depending on the situation at hand. A couple other notes here. So like the Blue Alpha Gear belt, it is infinitely adjustable. You just simply adjust through the loop here and then hold the excess slack in with this little additional, with this little loop that they provide to you here. So it moves around, it flows freely. And then when you're done, clip it back together and you're good to go. I will be continuously testing and evaluating the performance of this belt, including wear to see how long it lasts, to see if there's potential sag in the future as the elastic naturally stretches and loses elasticity over time, because that certainly does happen. Same thing with the Blue Alpha Gear belt. Over time it does wear because the hook and loop or the Velcro that's on the belt itself does eventually wear out and does to start to peel off on its own. I do have a second one, a gray one, which is an older belt of mine, and the ends of that one is starting to come off a little bit. So just note that both these belts, and just concealed carry belts in general, or any type of belt, will last you a good long time, but know that they are wear items, just like your magazines, just like your components inside your firearms. They're all wear items and eventually will need to be replaced or upgraded to suit whatever your needs are in the future. That's all for the video. I hope that you found the information useful. Once again, thank you, Micah, for giving me the belt and giving me the opportunity to test it out in comparison to my other belts. I hope that the information presented in this video is useful to you and it could hopefully help you to make a decision for yourself. All in all, I do recommend both belts. You just have to outweigh the pros and cons and make a decision for yourself. Or be like me and just grab them both and try them for yourself. So that's all for today. I hope you found the information useful. If you like the content, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and forward the information to anyone who you think you could help or anyone that's looking for one or two of these belts themselves. We'll see you all next time. Bunny Operator signing out.
Just let it out. Fuck 'em all then. I'm a dead